You're 3 months into Ozempic and you've lost 28 pounds. You're not starving yourself. You're not spending hours at the gym. You're just not hungry anymore. You look at food and feel nothing. No cravings, no urge to snack, no obsessive thoughts about what you're gonna eat next. You eat a few bites and you're full, satisfied, done. It feels like a miracle, like your brain has finally been fixed, like you've been released from a lifetime of fighting your own appetite. And then, 6 months in, something changes. You're still losing weight, but now you're losing other things too. You look in the mirror and your face looks different. Hollow, aged. Your cheeks are sunken. Your skin is sagging in places it never did before. Your arms look thinner but not toned, loose, deflated. You're tired all the time, not just low energy, physically weak. You try to open a jar and your hands feel useless. You walk upstairs and you're winded. You're losing weight, but you're also losing muscle, bone density, metabolic capacity. Because Ozempic doesn't just suppress your appetite. It doesn't just make you eat less. It fundamentally changes how your body processes energy, how it prioritizes tissue, how it decides what to keep and what to burn. And once you stop taking it, once the injections end and your appetite comes roaring back, you don't just regain the weight, you regain it differently. More fat, less muscle, a slower metabolism, a body that's harder to maintain than it was before you started. Because Ozempic didn't fix anything. It overrode something, and your body remembers. Here's what Ozempic actually is. It's a synthetic version of a hormone called GLP-1. Your body makes this naturally in your intestines after you eat. It tells your brain you're full, tells your pancreas to release insulin, tells your stomach to slow down digestion. But Ozempic doesn't just mimic GLP-1, it amplifies it, and it stays in your system much longer than the natural version. Your body's natural GLP-1 lasts for minutes. Ozempic lasts for days. Your body releases GLP 1-inch response to food. Ozempic is always there, constantly signaling, constantly suppressing, and your brain responds exactly the way it's supposed to. It stops sending hunger signals, it stops making food feel rewarding, it stops prioritizing eating as a survival behavior, which sounds perfect, until you realize that your brain doesn't distinguish between unnecessary eating and necessary eating. It just stops making you want to eat, period. So you eat less, much less, not because you're disciplined, because you physically don't want to. Food becomes unappealing, sometimes nauseating. You take a few bites of something and you feel uncomfortably full, bloated. Your stomach feels like it's not emptying properly, because it's not. Ozempic slows gastric emptying. It makes your stomach hold on to food longer, which keeps you feeling full, which makes you eat even less. And your body starts adapting to this new reality. You're taking in fewer calories, so your body starts breaking down tissue for energy. Fat, yes, but also muscle, because your body doesn't care about aesthetics. It cares about survival. And when calories are scarce, muscle is expensive to maintain. Here's what people don't understand about weight loss. Your body doesn't just burn fat when you're in a calorie deficit. It burns whatever it can access most easily. And muscle is easier to break down than fat in many contexts, especially if you're not using that muscle, especially if you're not getting enough protein. And most people on Ozempic aren't getting enough protein because they're barely eating. A few hundred calories a day, maybe 1,000. And when you're eating that little, it's almost impossible to get adequate protein without deliberately planning every bite. But you're not planning, you're not hungry, you're forcing yourself to eat because you know you should, but it feels like a chore. So you eat whatever's easy, whatever doesn't make you feel sick. Crackers, fruit, yogurt, small portions of soft foods that go down without effort. Not steak, not chicken breast, not the high protein meals your body needs to preserve muscle while losing fat. So your body cannibalizes your muscle, quietly, gradually. You don't notice it first because the number on the scale is going down and that's all you're tracking. But the composition of what you're losing is wrong. Studies show that people losing weight on GLP-1 drugs lose about 40% muscle mass along with their fat. That's not normal. In a well-managed weight loss program, adequate protein, resistance training, moderate calorie deficit, you should be losing maybe 10 to 20% muscle. The rest should be fat. But on Ozempic, you're losing almost half muscle. And muscle is metabolically active tissue. It burns calories at rest. It supports your joints. It keeps your metabolism high. It keeps you functional as you age. When you lose muscle, you're not just losing size. You're losing your body's ability to regulate energy efficiently. And here's the part no one talks about. You're also losing bone density because your body is under chronic caloric stress. And when your body doesn't have enough energy coming in, it starts pulling calcium from your bones. It deprioritizes bone maintenance. Bone remodeling slows down. This is especially dangerous for women, especially for anyone over 40, because bone density doesn't come back easily. Once it's gone, rebuilding it is slow and difficult, sometimes impossible. You might lose 30 pounds in 6 months and also lose years of bone strength, increasing your fracture risk, increasing your likelihood of osteoporosis down the line. But you won't know because you're not tracking that. You're tracking weight, and the weight is going down, so you think it's working. Then there's what happens to your face. People call it Ozempic face. Hollow cheeks, sunken eyes, sagging skin, pronounced nasolabial folds. You look older, tired, drawn. This isn't a side effect of the drug itself. It's a side effect of rapid weight loss combined with muscle and fat loss in your face. Your face has structural fat pads that give it shape and volume. When you lose weight quickly, especially when you're losing muscle along with fat, you lose that volume. And your skin, which was stretched over a fuller face, doesn't snap back. You can't target where you lose fat. You can't tell your body to take it from your stomach and leave your face alone. So when you lose weight rapidly, you lose it everywhere, including places you didn't want to lose it. Some people are getting facial fillers to counteract this, spending thousands of dollars to replace the volume they lost, which is darkly ironic. You're paying for a drug to lose weight, then paying for fillers to look like you didn't. But the most insidious part of Ozempic is what happens when you stop taking it, because you can't stay on it forever. It's expensive, insurance doesn't always cover it for weight loss, supplies run short, or you just decide you're done. You've hit your goal weight. You want to maintain on your own. And the hunger comes back, not gradually, aggressively, because your body has been in a state of suppressed appetite for months, maybe over a year. And now that suppression is gone. Your ghrelin, the hunger hormone, spikes. Your brain is screaming that you're starving and you need to eat. And you do eat because you're suddenly ravenous in a way you haven't been in months. Everything looks good again. Everything tastes good. You're not satisfied with small portions anymore. Your stomach has been trained to expect less, but your brain is demanding more. And the weight comes back fast. Studies show that most people regain 2/3 of the weight they lost within a year of stopping GLP-1 drugs. Some regain all of it, some regain more. But here's the critical part. You don't regain it the same way you lost it. You lost 40% muscle and 60% fat. You regain maybe 10% muscle and 90% fat because rebuilding muscle takes effort. It takes resistance training. It takes adequate protein. It takes time. But regaining fat is easy, effortless, automatic. Your body prioritizes fat storage after a period of restriction. It's a survival mechanism. It thinks you survived a famine and now it needs to prepare for the next one. So you end up heavier than before, with a slower metabolism, with less muscle, with a body that burns fewer calories at rest than it did before you started. You've essentially made it harder to maintain a healthy weight, not easier. There was a woman who lost 60 pounds on Ozempic in 8 months. She looked incredible in photos. Everyone congratulated her. She felt amazing, confident, in control. Then she stopped taking it because her insurance stopped covering it. Within 6 months, she'd regained 45 pounds, but she was weaker than before. Her clothes fit differently. Her body looked softer, less defined. She tried to go back to the gym and realized she couldn't lift the weights she used to lift before Ozempic. Her strength was gone. She got back on the drug, lost the weight again, and now she's terrified of ever stopping because she knows what happens and she doesn't know how to maintain without it. She's not alone. This is the pattern, and it's being sold as a solution. Here's the truth about Ozempic. It works. It absolutely works. If your only goal is to see a lower number on the scale, it will deliver. You will lose weight quickly, easily, without effort. But weight loss isn't the same as health. And losing weight rapidly while sacrificing muscle, bone, and metabolic function isn't a win. It's a trade-off, one that most people don't understand they're making. Because the marketing doesn't talk about muscle loss, it doesn't talk about Ozempic face, it doesn't talk about what happens when you stop, it just shows before and after photos. Smiling people who lost weight, who look happy. It doesn't show the after, the rebound, the slower metabolism, the weaker body. And it definitely doesn't talk about the fact that the only way to maintain the results is to stay on the drug indefinitely, which means lifelong injections, lifelong costs, lifelong dependency on a pharmaceutical to regulate something your body is supposed to regulate naturally. That's not a cure, that's a trap. And the door only locks after you've already walked through it.